Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
welcome once again. Okay, thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you very kindly. Welcome once again. I think we'll just start pending when others would join. I've also started the recording so that at least people would listen later on at their leisure. But before we start, we're not that plenty on call, so I'll just make this very interactive. We have Sister Rafiat and Brother Ibrahim on call. Could you please let's introduce ourselves before we get right into it. I'll start with Sister Rafiat. Please introduce yourself. And after that, Brother Ibrahim.
My name is Rafiat Adleke. What's wrong with you?
Okay, Rafiat Adeleke. What do you do?
I'm a fashion designer.
Oh, great.
I'm based in Lagos.
Based in Lagos. Great, interesting. Nice to meet you, Sister Rafiat. Brother Ibrahim.
Sister Baina, I'm here. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Walaikum. Can we meet you?
My name is Ibrahim Yunusa. I work as an internal auditor based in Lagos as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very kindly. Thank you once again for joining in. So going right into this here, how many of us have read this book? Like, let's be honest, have we read this book? So I would know how we're going to progress with this book. Have we read this book, like cover to cover? Sister Rafiat, have we read it?
No.
Not yet. What about you, Brother Ibrahim?
I actually glanced through, so it was just like more.
Okay, you kind of glanced through. Okay, it's still part of it. So basically, we've not really read the book cover to cover, but inshallah, with what we're going to be learning today in this session, I hope it's going to be really beneficial. I've been able to summarize most of the details of what Sister Yasmin Mogaid said that we should do, because we found out that Islam means peace. Yeah, when they say, "Oh, what is your religion?" Your religion is Islam. What does Islam mean? Islam is peace. But we found out that as believers, we don't really have that peace, especially in this situation we find ourselves in. Is either one disappointment, one maybe there are a lot of emotional things we go through as believers, which is normal. Yeah, when dunya is normal, but we're trying to look at why are these things happening to us. Allah said Islam is a religion of peace, means whenever we practice Islam, we should find peace in it. But I'm not sure that is what is happening. Kind of, we're not really getting that true peace we truly desire, which is why Sister Yasmin Mogaid wrote the book Reclaim Your Art. So she basically said that okay, before I get into what she said, so the way it's going to go is we're going to start from the introduction. We're going to look at the mindset she said we should adopt and mindset that we should discard. The process of reclaiming our art, controls to ensure our art is with God. So basically, she started with people are attached. And let's be honest, sister. Let's be honest, Sister Rafiat and brother. Let's be honest. We are attached to a lot of things. We're attached to dunya. We love things of dunya, we depend on things of dunya, and we fear things of dunya. However, on the other hand, we seek peace. We seek peace, we seek happiness, we seek fulfillment. But one major problem she mentioned is that we often place our art, we often depend on things of dunya. For example, you depend on your career to fulfill you. You depend on your money. So when those things don't come to you as they should, you become scared. You start to look for things. You start to seek for those things in dunya. So basically, one major problem is placing our trust and dependence in our career, in our money, in our relationship, in everything, in people. We need to know that dunya is not perfect. Allah created dunya not to be perfect. Only paradise is perfect. Hence, if we are putting or relying on things of dunya, they will fail us. They will break our hearts. To attain a state of peace, our inner state, our heart should only depend on something that is constant, something that is eternal, which is Allah. Basically, the book is giving us strategy on how can we become detached and attached to Allah. Attachment basically means the love. Basically, when you hear attachment, according to Tijani-Alawe, she said attachment is basically love, dependence, and fear of things of dunya. If I ask that, what are the things we give our heart to? What are the things we depend on? Let's be honest. What are the things we depend on? What are the things we love more than Allah? What are the things we even fear more than Allah? You can put it in the comment section, but because we're not that plenty, I'll just go around the room so we would even hear from each other. This is more like an interactive section. Let us learn from each other. So for example, I would start with mine. For a long time, I used to think that, my career will fulfill me. Having money will fulfill me. But as time goes on, I realized that only Allah has the power, has the dominion over those things. And until I'm able to give my heart to Allah, until I'm able to say, Allah is the person that can say, take this, don't take this. Until I'm able to do that, things will become easier for me. So we give our heart to a lot of things. So let me just go around the room to ask, what are those things we give our heart to? What are those things we give our heart to? It can be children, it can be a husband, it can be a wife, it can be family, it can be, let us hear. And you can tell us with a little story, a little background story, like maybe there was a time you gave your heart to something and you realized that, that thing is not really worth it. So this time I'll start with Brother Ibrahim. Brother Ibrahim.
Thank you, Sister Vaina. So I would like to reiterate that there was never a time that I gave my heart to something that was not so much on my mind than the Creator. Because ever since I came across these hadiths that says only God can make something happen. Only God can do it for one. So even if everybody in this world is trying to help you, if Allah has not willed, even if they help you, it won't work out. And if everybody in this world is against you as well, that they are not going to help you, saying that they are not going to help you, if Allah alone says that is going to help you and that is going to work out, they are all going to try, and it's going to work out the way Allah has willed. So ever since I came across that, I tend to realize that nothing is actually worth it in this world, so except Allah. So is the one that makes things happen. How do I put it now? So things only happen. Only things that he has willed will happen, and nothing more. Whatever every other person is saying, no opinion matters. No opinion at all matters except for that which Allah has willed. So thank you.
Thank you very kindly, Brother Ibrahim. Something I took away from your discourse right now is that quote that you just mentioned. I'll summarize it. So you said, if everyone says yes and Allah says no, there's nothing all those people can do about it. And if Allah says yes and everyone says no, there is nothing those people can do. Thank you very kindly for sharing that quote with us. Thank you very kindly, Brother Ibrahim. Sister Fiat, yeah, please could you share with us a time probably you've given your heart to dunya, but you realize that it's not worth it?
Honestly, there's nothing like that. I've never been through that because I've always given my heart to Allah. But sometimes I always care of what people will say about me and how. Actually, I've never been in that position because I care a lot about what people say, and actually, that's really been helping me so far, even in my life and everything.
Thank you very kindly, Sister Fiat. So there's never been a time where you really had your heart attached to things of dunya, except when other people's opinion are in it. Okay. All right. Thank you very kindly, Sister Fiat. Okay, I don't know if it's Mr. or Miss Morayo Salau. Morayo Salau.
Salaam
Okay, thank
alaikum.
you. Alaikum salam, Sister Morayo. Welcome very kindly. Could you share with us a time when you've gotten your heart attached to things of dunya and how you were able to overcome that?
At the time, my children, I cherish them a lot, and I think I've done enough for them to put them on the right path. But when I started having issue with my teenage son, and I had to, I mean, think back and put every, and I have to talk to myself that I for good. I thought I've done my best, but I just realized now that everything is Allah's hand. It's Allah that can turn one for the good. Thank you.
Thank you very kindly, Sister Murayo, for sharing that bit with us. We can see that most times, yeah, we might give our heart to things. Sister Murayo said something about giving heart to family. Sister Rafia said, opinion of others. Those little things can break or make us if we're not really careful. And alhamdulillah, we're able to realize that only Allah has the power over all those things. For example, I remember there was a time where I used to be scared, or really, I used to put the opinion of others in my heart so much. Like, oh, what would people say about me? Oh, what would they think about me? Instead of what would Allah say about this? What would Allah say about what I'm about to do? So really, if according to Sister Yasimoga, she said, if we continue to put our hearts in dunya, they will break us. There is no how we want to do it. They will show, because dunya is not perfect. Dunya is not, people are not created to be perfect. We can only depend and trust in Allah to guide those things and those people to ensure that we have peace. It's not perfect. You can only seek that peace and happiness we want only in Allah. Now, she mentioned that entirely, yeah, there are three major forms of attachment. When we say attachment, there are basically three forms of attachment. Number one is dependence on people and things of dunya. For example, a lot of people depend on their money to save them, on their career, on their knowledge. So people even depend on themselves that, oh, I'm independent. That's especially we ladies, independent women. No, it's very wrong. We should only depend on Allah, because most times we cannot be. We also are not perfect. Sometimes we fall. Sometimes we break. So only Allah, it's only Allah we should depend on. So number one, dependence on people and things of dunya. Number two, fear of people and things of dunya. If we should ask around the room now, there are people or things we fear, maybe things we fear of losing, things we fear that might go wrong. Maybe we're scared of the future. What could go wrong? What will happen? These things prevent us from, for example, I have a friend who wanted to start a business, but because of fear of the unknown, fear of what if I start this, all the money I've invested in it now, like I'll lose all the money. But no, it's because the person does not have the fear of Allah or dependence on Allah. Because if this person has trust Allah and put it in front of Allah that, oh Allah, I'm about to start a business. Honestly, that fear, there's a sort of confidence you get from knowing that Allah got your back. Like Allah has my back. Nothing can happen to me. The third one is love of people and things of dunya. Honestly, this one is, yes, Morgan said this one is because we tend to confuse love of people with love of Allah. So we tend to, especially when we're trying to fulfill our deen. You know, the Prophet said marriage is completing half of your deen. So marriage and love, yeah, they tend to get in the way majorly. They tend to get in the way of we trying to attach to Allah most times, and if we're not careful, we would fall deep down into this false thing we called love. And so, but let's go ahead. We'll see what Yasmin Mogai defined as love, and especially in the marriage segment. So basically, she basically classified things. She gave us example of things we can become attached to if we're not careful. We can become attached to our desire. We can become attached to our career. We can become attached to people. We can become attached to ourselves. We can become attached to places. We can become attached to events. Alhamdulillah, when the period of Ramadan, month of Ramadan, this month of Ramadan, for example, although I'll go into details, she basically said fasting is a way of detachment because we have food we want to eat. We're hungry, we're thirsty. These are desires. Now, we living that desire for Allah for some period of time is a way of detachment. She basically mentioned there are 5 major ways of becoming detached, and those are the 5 pillars of Islam: Salah, fasting, Tawheed, charity, and Hajj. There are basically 5 major ways of becoming detached from these things. The more we pray Salah, the more we remember Allah every day, 5 times a day. When we remember Allah, we kind of like move away from dunya. Every single time we go to Allah in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, the night, we kind of like move away from dunya to come to Allah. So those things are really going to be helpful. A lot of people have abandoned Salah because they don't even really understand what Salah is. What is the essence of Salah? We're going to look at it as we progress when we get to the process of becoming detached and attached to Allah, inshallah. But let us note that these are the major objects of attachment: our desire, our career, people, self, place, and events. Now, when we become attached to dunya, there are some things that happen eventually. Number 1, we can feel envy. For example, when your heart and your mind is on a certain thing, maybe your colleague or your partner is getting something and you're not getting it, it's because you're attached to that dunya, you're attached to that thing, you're not attached to Allah. Who says Allah cannot give you what you want? Who says Allah cannot give you that thing that you also desire? Another outcome of attachment, which is also called disease of the heart, is confusion. We have confusion, doubt, greed, jealousy, selfishness, shame, distrust, heartbreak, disappointment, fear, anxiety, sadness, nervousness, and many more. But these are the ones she pinpointed in her book, Reclaim Your Heart. And I'm very sure if I ask around the room again now, we've one way or another felt these emotions. We felt fear. We've been disappointed because perhaps we placed our trust, or we expect things to go, or we expect people to do some things and they didn't do it. Sometimes it might be anxiety, sometimes it might be sadness. But however, all these things are normal. But it's how we handle these things that matters. We are not perfect. Yes, Margaret said we are humans, we're not perfect. We might fall sometimes, but what we do next is what matters. Are you going to stay down when you come across maybe doubt or even fear? How do you handle those things? How do you handle those diseases of the heart? It matters a lot. So let us know that if we continue to give our heart to dunya, a lot of this disease of the heart would happen. It would happen, and it might be really bad. A lot of people have gone into depression because of heartbreak, because of disappointment, because of fear. A lot of people have even committed suicide. She mentioned in her book that, I think she said, a woman was unable to give birth. A woman was unable to give birth in a marriage of 20 years, and she almost committed suicide because she was unable to give birth. And the opinion of others, what people were saying was getting to her. It was because she gave her heart to dunya. She listened to dunya. She forgot that dunya is not perfect. Even the people that are saying bad things about her are also not perfect. They also have their own issues that they are not saying. But until she realizes that, oh, only Allah, you don't know what Allah is using this thing to do. Allah might be using this thing to even protect you. She also mentioned in her book that, I think, was it Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, like, there was a time Allah, because, okay, yeah, it was the Eid al-Kabir, the occurrence of Eid al-Kabir. Allah mandated him to kill his, I think, was it Ismail? Yeah, it was Ismail. Like, just sacrifice your son. Do you know why? Yes, Mugaid said, because Allah realized that the love of his son is becoming more than the love of Allah, is becoming greater than the love of Allah. But Allah wanted him to realize, Allah wanted him to sacrifice that thing he has in his heart. That was why he said, sacrifice your son. And when Allah saw that, oh, this person, the love of the son has reduced a little bit, Allah said, okay, don't worry. You can leave your son alone. I'm just trying to tell you a sign that your love for me has reduced. Your love for your son is greater than. So most times when Allah does some things, when perhaps it gives problem or something, we don't know, we don't have the knowledge, we don't have the thorough knowledge of why things are happening. It might be for advantage, but we don't see it that way because we don't really know. Only Allah knows everything we don't know. Only Allah knows everything we don't know. So we really need to be conscious of this thing. We really need to, see, nowadays, currently, especially now, we are seeing depression by the right, by the left. We're seeing sadness everywhere. It is because people have become too attached to dunya. They forgot about paradise. They forgot about death. They forgot about the good things dunya, the good things paradise holds for us. If people are able to remember these things, honestly, we're going to attain that peace that we truly desire. Now, when Yasmin Moga in her book, she mentioned some concepts about, 5 concepts we really need to look at. The first one is love, which I'm going to talk about now. The second one is Tawhid. The third one is dunya. What does dunya mean? The fourth one is detachment, and the fifth one is gifts. Now, I'll start with love. When we hear love, let me go around the room now. When we hear love, what does love mean to us? What does it mean to love in the context of Islam or in the context of marriage? Because Yasmoga really pinpointed this part. Marriage is completing half of the deen. When we get into marriage, we will, in fact, not only marriage, really, our family members, love for ourselves. Some people really love themselves. They become really proud. Self-love, if it's too much, becomes pride. So basically, what are the things? How would you describe love? Let me go around the room right now before I tell you what Yasmin Mogai says about love. So this time I'll start with Sister Murayo. Sister Murayo, what does love mean to you?
Love means where I can get happiness and attention.
Writing that down. Where we can get happiness and attention. Thank you very kindly, Sister Murayo. Sister Rafiat. Sister Rafiat, are you there? Okay, I'll come back to Sister Rafiat. Brother Ibrahim, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great. What does it mean to love?
Okay. For me, love is when you have an affection for something. So it is when it starts from liking something and graduates into having affection and feelings for something. So in a nutshell, love is when you do something for someone unconditionally, when you are not doing it based on certain condition, and um when you do those things unconditionally and not expecting anything in return, that for me is love. Thank you.
Thank you very kindly. Thank you very kindly, Brother Ibrahim. Sister Rafiat, are you able to speak? Okay, I think we'll do with this too. Sister Mariah said, love is where you find happiness and attention. Brother Ibrahim said, to cap it up, he said that when you do something for someone unconditionally without getting anything in return, that's love. Honestly. In the Quran, Allah said, love is about affection and mercy. If our love for something make us willing to give up our family, our dignity, our self-respect, our bodies, our sanity, our peace of mind, our deen, and even our Lord who created us from nothing, know that that is not love. That is slavery. You are a slave to that thing. So, for example, Sister Isungai said that the slavery of the mind, body, and soul. True love is the love that gives. So basically, to cap it all up here, what she's trying to say? She said that love is giving, not getting. Fine, you can get, but your expectation on getting is what causes heartbreak and all these diseases of the heart we've been talking about. True love is when you love people not because of what you can get, but because of who they are, because you see a reflection of Creator in them and you are willing to give. And this love does not compete with Allah. We see a lot of time. These things we call love, maybe love might be for our career, for money, love for people, love for our partner. These things tend to compete with Allah. Immediately you see that this thing is trying to compete with Allah. That's not love. That's slavery. It is not love. Love brings joy. Love in any other way, aside from love of Allah, is to need to be dependent, to have expectation. When you have expectation of people, honestly, we are setting ourselves up for misery and disappointment. True love is about giving mercy and affection without expecting anything in return. Honestly, there's some mindset around love that Yasmin Guide said, and we really need to be careful. I think this love thing is the beginning of attachment, the beginning of attachment in everything. That is the major foundation of attachment. When we see that we're trying to get it, it's because we love something. Oh, we love to travel. Oh, we initially start as, oh, we like this thing, but then we'll see that it has now transcended into we love, and this thing now start to compete with Allah. Now, the second concept is that Yasmogai talk about is Tawhid. Now, she said something about a lot of people mention la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah without anything. Like, we don't even consider what that la ilaha illallah means. So la ilaha illallah means there is no other God except Allah. And she placed emphasis, like she really placed emphasis on, initially, God did not say that there is only Allah as God. She said that God said there is no other God. So there is a declaration that there is no other thing we worship except Allah. So the very first step to reclaiming our hearts in this dunya is to declare and to acknowledge the fact that there is no other thing we worship. There's no other thing we depend on. There's no other thing we fear. There is no other thing we love except Allah. So that's the first assertion. It means my career will not save me. Only Allah can save me. Fine, I have career, I have finance, I have money, I have relationship. My relationship will not make me fulfilled except Allah say yes, be fulfilled. My money will not fulfill me except Allah says yes, be fulfilled. My relationship will not fulfill me except Allah says yes, be fulfilled. Honestly, that declaration, she said that the first thing a Muslim does especially when people are trying to convert to Islam, is the declaration of La ilaha illallah. But we tend to forget the meaning of La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah means, number one, first acknowledge the fact that there is no God, there is no helper, there is no dependent. And then the second part follow, except Allah. So we need to first remove all the attachments, all the helpers, all the false helpers we've been attached to, all the dependents we've been attached to before. We need to first take it off. And then the second part now follows, except Allah. We now need to now attach ourselves to Allah. Because if we're not able to, we can't just go from here to now move to, I want to be attached to Allah. We have to detach first. We have to acknowledge that there is no God except Allah. Now, we realize that a lot of people lose focus on the first part. That the first part of Tawhid is acknowledge that there is no other God. And Allah is an object of worship, not necessarily Shango or Obatala. Looking at it closely, let us be honest, we worship a lot of things. Let us be honest, in our daily life here, we worship a lot of things. We worship our career. We worship our bosses. Most times, if your boss said, oh, meeting time is 2 p.m., you would stay. When Allah says, come and meet me by 2 p.m., most times it's our job, most times it's our money, most times it's the status, most times it's the fame, most times it's our own intellect, most times it's other people, most times it's ourself, most times it's our desire and our whims. Ilah, that small God is not just something that we pray to. It's not the Shango or Batala. Honestly, it's not that Shango or Batala. It's what we revolve our life around. It's what we obey. It's what calls us and we obey. It is what is of utmost importance to us above any other thing that we can even live our life for. It's something we live for and we can't live without. And if we look at it closely, really, there are some things we've taken as Allah. There are some things we've been worshiping, we've been unconscious, we might not know. We might just see it as, oh, it's normal now. Won't I eat? Won't I do this? But we have to realize that that is not Tawhid. Allah is the only person that has a dominion over all things. And if he says no, I think like Brother Ibrahim said, if he says no, there's nobody that can say yes. And if he says yes, there's nobody that can say no. Honestly. So furthermore, yes, under Tawhid, she said that false attachments are ilah, the things we attach ourselves to. It's something we love, it's something we need. It is something, if there's anything or anyone we can never give up aside Allah, then that is a false attachment. So if we want to recognize our false attachment, we need to understand that we need to ask ourselves, now this is a rhetorical question, we need to ask ourselves, what are those things we can never give up aside Allah? Like, if Allah is here and I have this thing here, honestly, I'll choose this thing over Allah. If we're able to highlight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, honestly, those things are our gods. Those are the things we worship aside Allah. And we have to be really conscious on how to detach ourselves from these things. If there is anything or anyone that losing would absolutely break us, we have a false attachment. False attachment are things we fear losing. It's something that if we even sense is drifting away, we would desperately pursue. This attachment, like we've said before, can be our money, can be other people, can be idea, can be our business, can be a drug. Some people take drugs, like, oh, they get addicted to drug. Can be status, can be, can be likes, can be the likes on Instagram and Facebook. Some people live for likes and, oh, have they liked my posts? Those we worship those things because when those things call us, we're going to obey them. Can be our career, can be our image, can be how other people view us, can be our physical presence, can be our beauty, can be our degrees, can be our job titles, can be our sense of control, our own intelligence and rationality. There are plenty. So we need to identify those things so that we'll be able to detach ourselves from them. We'll be able to fulfill the first part of Tawhid before we now go to the second part of Tawhid. Like we've said before, Tawhid is the foundation of Islam. And we really need to focus. We really need to highlight this thing so we'll be able to move forward. Now, there's one thing she said. She said there is no struggle. There's no struggle on earth. Like the essence of Tawhid is the struggle to free our hearts from false attachments. Constantly, we need to be conscious. We need to constantly remember that these things will get our hearts. We need to struggle to remove our hearts from this false attachment. When we realize, and she listed, Sister Esmaga listed a lot of things we can do to ensure that we constantly remember that we're trying to get attached to this thing. Let us move back a little. So we're going to share that shortly as well. But let us just go through the concepts. Now, the third concept is dunya. She said, she defined what dunya means because we realize that it's dunya we give our heart to. Dunya is like an ocean. So the way she described it is, you know, the ship, when ship is moving in an ocean, especially, for example, Titanic. Or don't let us use normal ship. Now, the ship is moving on an ocean. Now, that ship can be likened to our hearts. And the ocean can be likened to dunya. Now, if the ocean, a little bit of water, if there's a leak in the ship and water enters, it might not sink. But imagine if there's a huge leak in that ship and water enters a bit, what would happen to the ship? The ship, our hearts, would sink down, like to the bottom of it. And what happens at the bottom of the ocean? It's very dark. We can't see anything. And what happens maybe after 30 minutes? The ship or the person on the ship would die. So that's how she likened our hearts to. Our heart is like the ship. The ocean is the dunya. The ocean is used to cross to the other side. We're in dunya to enter here. Now, if we allow the ocean to enter our ship, honestly, we're going to sink. If normal thing that happens to, fine, if it's little, we can still try to, little water. But when you allow dunya, the whole of dunya to enter your heart, honestly, that's when depression, doubt, disappointment starts happening. So that's how she described dunya. Dunya is just like the ocean and our heart are the ship. We can use the ocean for our needs and as a means to get to our final destination. But the ocean is only that, a means. But it is something that which we only pass through. Yet we can't remain on the ocean. We can't remain in dunya for life. Like if we're going on the ship, your intention is not to live on water. Your intention is, I'm trying to pass through this place to get to the other side. But imagine if we now allow the ocean, which is dunya, to enter our hearts, we would break. We're going to sink down to the ocean bottom. And what happens there? Everything is usually dark there. Sunlight does not really reach that place. So that's what happens when we try to give our heart to dunya. Things would sink and we might not even see the light of the day. So please, let us know what dunya is. Dunya is like an ocean. Fine, it might look fine at the surface, but inside that ocean, inside that dunya, there are lots of sharks. There are lots of dangerous animals that we would not even want to meet. So please, as much as possible, let us not allow dunya to enter our ship. Let us not allow dunya to enter our hearts. That's what she said about dunya. Now, detach dunya. Furthermore, she said dunya. Okay, I've explained this part as well. She mentioned that to stay afloat, we must view this world exactly the same way Allah has told us. We live in dunya, and dunya is in fact created for our needs. Now, the fourth concept she talked about is detachment. Now, we said something about Tawhid previously now. The foundation of Islam is Tawhid. But Tawhid is not just about saying that God is one. Oh, I believe God is one. Fine, it's very easy to say, God is one, God is one. But it's so much deeper. It is about the oneness of purpose, oneness of our fear, oneness of worship. It is the ultimate love for God. Now, detachment means detachment of the heart. That is ultimate attachment to Allah and Him alone. That's detachment. Detachment is the first part of Tawhid. The second part of Tawhid is living for Allah. So we need to detach first before we even say, oh, we want to reclaim our heart. Now, another thing, okay, fine. Let me explain what she said about detachment here. Detachment, she said detachment means to be in this world like a traveler. So I'm in this world like a rider who like, okay, fine, I'm getting a rest under the tree for a short time. Then after taking some rest, I resume my journey and I leave the tree behind. Now, what happens when you're traveling or you know that your stay is only temporary? This dunya is temporary. So what happens when you know that, oh, I still have somewhere I'm going. I'm only in this dunya temporarily for a short period of time. Now, when you know that you are passing through a city for one night, how attached are you going to get to that place? Will you be so attached? Maybe you're a hotel. I know most of us live in Lagos. Maybe most of us are saying, okay, let me just pass the night at the hotel. Are we going to be really attached to that hotel when we know that we have a home we're going to? If you know things are temporary, will you be willing to stay at that place forever? Or maybe maybe your boss sent you to a new town to work on a limited project. And he didn't tell you when the project will end, because that's what dunya is. We are in this earth, but we don't know when we're going to end. Now, when you know that I can be returning home anytime, any day, how will you be in the town? So this is what she's saying. Your boss sent you on an errand. Go to that town and just get whatever you can get. But I can call you anytime. How would you live in that place? You know that at the back of your mind, this is not my home. I have somewhere I'm still going and I can be called at any time. So when you get to that place, would you invest in, I want to build my house here. Let me build a lot. Would you amass lots of property? Or would you spend all your savings on expensive furniture and cars in that town when you know you're still going back home? No, you will not, because you know this is just temporary. And that's what dunya is. Dunya is temporary. When we have it at the back of our mind that, yeah, dunya is just temporary, we would have a more conscious way of getting detached and getting attached to Allah. Now, she said something again, that detachment does not mean we cannot own things of dunya. In fact, she gave an example of a lot of prophets. Our mother Khadija, the wife of the prophet, she has wealth. She owns things of dunya. Yeah. Uthman, the Khalifa, he has wealth. He has things of dunya. Prophet Sulaiman, he has lots of things of dunya. He has wealth. So she said detachment does not mean that we cannot own things. Oh. She said, in fact, we can own things. Now, detachment is that we view and interact with these things, with this dunya for what it really is. It's just a means. Detachment is when the dunya remains in our hand and not in our heart. Detachment is that you should own, nothing should own you. Do you get? Let me put it like this. She said detachment is you can own things, but those things should not own you. Detachment is you can own things, but those things should not own you at all. Because the moment you allow those things to enter, they will sink you, honestly. So detachment is fine. I can have this house, I can have wealth, I can have money, but they don't control me. I can decide to say, okay, fine. Allah is the only one that can control me. So I can decide to say, okay, fine. I want wealth, I want money. It's normal for us to want those things, but they should not control us to the point where we forget Allah. And then we start seeking other things other than Allah. Yeah, so she basically said that about detachment as well. Now, the last concept she said is gifts. She's talked about gifts. She said dunya is gifts. We all love gifts. We love the blessing that beautify our life. We love our children. Children are gifts. We love our spouses, our parents, our friends, our youths. We love our health. They are all gifts that Allah has given us. Alhamdulillah. We love our homes, our cars, our money, our beauty. But what happens when this gift becomes more than just a gift. Yeah. For example, when you give a baby or when you give a toddler a toy baby to play with, that's a gift. So Allah is giving us a gift. But when we become too attached to that gift and we forget the person that gave us that gift, we forget that this person has more gifts to give us. We just focused on the one he gave us, and then we lose focus. Yeah. What happens when that gift becomes more than just a gift? We can't sleep without that gift, without that our toy car. We can't sleep. We can't do anything. Every time we're always looking for that thing. See, a gift is something that did not come from us. A gift is given and can be taken. Just like, fine, you give your toddler a gift, you can decide to take it away from that person. So Allah can give and take. We are not the original owner of the gift. It's for Allah. So if Allah says, fine, I want what I gave you back. There's nobody there. And Allah has a reason. Allah always has a reason for taking things back. It might be because he saw that we are too attached to that thing, and that thing will break us further. He took away that gift from us. So we are not the original owner of a gift. A gift is also not necessary for our survival. A gift is just a gift. It's not necessary for our survival. It comes and goes. Only Allah. We lead Allah for just our survival. Fine, we want and we love to receive it, but they are not necessary for our existence. We don't depend on them. We don't live to receive them and do not die if we don't. So when you collect the maybe toy from the toddler, what happens? The toddler will still live. Fine, it might feel pain a little, but it will still go on. It will still live. So Mr. Yasmoga really made it clear that we should understand that a gift is a gift. We should understand that a gift is being given by a giver. Yeah. And when we should ask Allah. We love gifts. As human beings, in our nature, we love gifts. It's normal. Like I said before, we've seen a lot of examples of people who have gotten gifts in terms of money, wealth, health, career, a lot of things. So we love gifts, yeah, but we should understand that gifts, we should not depend on those gifts. Those gifts are just gifts. They should not be something we worship or we depend on so much. Yeah. Now, going forward, there are three major. So we've spoken about the concept of the five major concepts Sister Yasmin Mogai spoke about. Now, going forward, before going to the mindset to adopt and the process of reclaiming our arts, Sister Yasmin Mogai mentioned that there are three things that are usually the problem. Number one, we expect dunya to be perfect. Number two, expectation is one recipe of unhappiness. Number three, our dependence, hope, and expectation are usually not with God. So there are three major problems currently now in dunya. Number one is that dunya is perfect. We need to understand. A lot of people believe dunya should be perfect. Why are things happening to good people? Why are things doing this? Why are things doing that? Why is there hardship? Dunya is not perfect. Allah did not create dunya to be perfect. Dunya is a test, a place where we try to pass our test and move to the perfect place, which is Akhirah. Dunya is not perfect. We usually expect this life to be what is not and what was never meant to be perfect. And when we focus when we put our focus on dunya is perfect, we become frustrated if things don't go our way. But when we have that mindset that dunya is not perfect, human beings are not perfect, we see things for what they are and what they should be. We hold it in our hand, not in our hearts. Number two is expectation is one recipe for unhappiness. Fine, it's okay to expect things, but we need to understand that we should expect. What should we expect, and where should those expectations come from? Fine, when we are putting our expectations in human being, oh, this person has promised to give me 1 million naira, or this person has promised to give me a job. You need to understand that expectations, when we expect too much, it would. Someone was talking about, I have a friend that was telling me about the fact that I think he didn't pray before going for a job interview. He didn't pray. So he just went there. He didn't even say Bismillah, or he didn't even start with Allah. So he just went there expecting that, this person will give me the job now. Very sure. But when he got there, a job that has, is settled, is sealed already, just to get the offer letter and start working. and they told him that, sorry, well, sorry, the position. The child gave him a lot of excuse. Now, what happens? He went back to Allah and he realized that he expected too much from people. He didn't expect it from Allah. As me, he placed his expectation on Allah, that Allah, fine, I'm going there, but it's still you that can do this. It's still you that can give me what I want. You can use them as a tool, but it's still you that will give me the job. Honestly, maybe the level of unhappiness would reduce. He would understand that, fine, Allah is the one that proposed that for. Maybe he saw something and said, okay, fine, this job is not for you yet. We're bringing something bigger. So expectation is one recipe of unhappiness. Just like, for example, in marriage, we see a lot of expectation between husband and wife. I expect my wife to be this. I expect my wife to be that. I expect my husband to be this. I expect my husband to be that. Honestly, expectation is a major recipe for unhappiness. When you expect a lot of things from people of dunya, imperfect people, because even we ourselves, we're not perfect. Anything can happen. Yeah. When we expect so much from people, it breaks us. So we need to understand that our expectation should only be for Allah. For example, expecting too much from your husband or your wife can break us. Just place your trust on Allah. Allah, I trust you. I expect this thing. I expect you to protect my husband. I expect you to help him to love me. I expect you to help him to help her to love me. So we need to be very careful on where we place our expectation. Expectation causes a lot of harm, and we really need to be careful. So the third one, she said, is our dependence, our hope are not usually with God. They're usually with things of dunya. It just speaks to the second problem. So majorly, we need to understand that dunya is not perfect. Human beings are not perfect. Things are not perfect. And we need to understand that. Number two, we need to understand that expectation should be with Allah. Our expectation should just be with Allah. Now, we're coming to the second. So the sessions are divided into 4. We finished the introduction parts, introduction and concepts. Now, we have a lot of mindset change that Yasin Mogai said we should adopt and discard. But we might not finish today because we're about breaking here. We need to get ready to break here. So I'll just go over a few of it. Then perhaps we'll continue tomorrow, and then perhaps. But as let us just look at some of them here, and then I'm going to be going around the room to ask us questions on. Let us just learn from each other. Yeah. So now, number one mindset. The first mindset that Yasin Mogai talks about is our expectation. Placing our hope in dunya is wrong. Placing our hope and expectation in people is wrong. When you have friends, don't expect your friends to fill your emptiness. When you get married, don't expect your husband or your wife to fill your every need. Oh, my husband is not doing this. Other husbands are doing this. Oh, my husband does doing this. When you're an activist, yeah, don't put your hope in the results. When you're in trouble, don't depend on yourself. Don't depend on people. Only depend on Allah. It's only Allah. Allah is the only handhold that never breaks. Allah is the only handhold that never breaks. Don't depend on people. Only depend on. Place your expectations on Allah. That's the first mindset. The second one is seek help from Allah first. Seek help from Allah first. Realize that, fine, you may seek the help of people, but note that it is not the people that can save you. Only Allah can save you. People are only tools, a means used by God, but they are not the source of help. Only God is. So you might interact with people externally, but turn your heart towards God. The third mindset is we need to redefine our definition of success. We need to redefine our definition of success. So now, worship means what we depend on. When you worship something, you depend on that thing. Don't let your definition of success. Okay, fine. Currently now, if I ask everyone, how do you define success? How do you define success? In fact, let me go around the room. What does success means to you? What does success mean to you? What does success mean to you? Let me start with Brother Ibrahim first now.
Success.
What does success mean to you? You can
Okay,
take your time to think about
success.
it. Mhm.
Okay, success for me is not success for me is not I have money, I have this degree, I have it's not um about my
Okay.
success for me. Success for me is if after this whole after this whole thing we end up in a journey of leaders. That for me is success. That is what we should quantify being successful with. What we are doing to prepare for the year after. What are the things we are putting in place that will go with us? The things we tend to classify as being success. Yeah, that oh, I have these, I have so billions, I have so certificates, I have this, I have that, I have these cars, I have these houses. That is not success. That shouldn't be success. So success should be those things that we are going to take along with us to the year after. So that for me is success. Thank you.
Success, Brother Ibrahim said, success is about the year after. What are those things we need to do to ensure that we attain the year after? Thank you very kindly, Brother Ibrahim. Thank you so much. Okay, Sister Rafiat, are you able to speak? I think you're having issues with your mic. Okay, Sister Morayo.
Okay. Success to me is being granted Ajana Fredos in the year after.
I like the fact that we are all admitting that there is much more, there's a way we define success in our life, and success should be connected with Aljon of Firdaus. What are we doing here currently? What I'm doing in Dunia currently, does it in any way affect my year after positively? Does it positively affect my year after? So that is success. Don't let your definition of success or even failure or even self-worth be anything other than your position with Allah. A lot of people, we found out that they define their self-worth based on maybe the way other people see them. A lot of people even define their self-worth based on, oh, how many likes do I have on Instagram, or how many followers, or how many people like me? Yeah. When we define our success, our failure, or self-worth as based on people's opinion or maybe any other dunia thing, we become breakable, we become conquerable. But if you are able to define your success, no matter what anyone says, yeah, if you're able to define your success, your failure, or even your self-worth, see, most time, some people will fail in their career, does not mean they are failure. Yeah. When it is by the position you hold with Allah, you're closest to Allah. When you define your success as that, what I'm doing in my career, does it get me closer to Allah? What I'm doing with my money, does it get me closer to Allah? What I'm doing with my partner, my relationship, does it get me closer to Allah? That is success. That is how we should define success. Every single thing we're doing, does it in any way affect my akhirah? Does it in any way affect my relationship with Allah? If you're able to do this, nobody can break you. Nobody can conquer you. Because you know that whatever anyone says, yeah, they're just saying it for saying sake. You know how you define your own success and how you define your own self-worth. So basically, she said we should redefine our definition of success. Stairs Mogai said we should define our definition of success. Now, another mindset she said is loss can only be defined by Allah. Loss can only be defined by Allah. Now, I'm going to use this. She told a story using this. So she said there was Prophet Musa, yeah. I've forgotten the name of the person he met, but an angel came in human form to Prophet Musa. I know we in fact, when I say we all know this story. So Prophet Musa, they were going on the ship, on the boat, and then the angel in human form, like I think he spoiled the boat, like he spoiled everything. And Musa was like, what kind of wickedness is that? Why will you spoil everything on this boat? Now, and you know that the owner of the boat is an orphan, does not have any job, does not have anything he's doing. What kind of wickedness is that? The angel said, calm down, Musa. You don't know why. You don't have any knowledge. You don't know the reason why I broke the boat and everything. That's one. Then they were going again. They met, I've forgotten how she said it, but they met a house that is about to collapse. And then the angel again, once again, like just cuckoo broke down everything and the whole house just collapsed. That's two. Prophet Musa spoke again. He said, what kind of nonsense is that? What kind of wickedness is that? Why would you do that harmful thing to that person? They were going. I said, Musa, be patient, have sabr, be patient. Now, when they got to the end, now said, I'm going to explain to you everything I did. You see the first one that I broke the boat. He said there's a tyrant on the loose that is seizing the boat of everybody. And the only way I can help the orphan is to make the boat unattractive to the tyrant. That was why I broke the boat. You see, you don't have the knowledge. Only Allah has the knowledge. So when we feel that we lost something or we're losing something, perhaps you don't know, but Allah knows why. When we feel that, oh, Allah is taking this thing from you don't know why. Maybe Allah, sometimes, Yasmin Guide even said, he got to a point that even taking things away from you might be to just get you closer to Allah, so that you come back on your knees, so that you'll be able to realize that you don't have any power. Only Allah has the power. So sometimes when Allah takes from us, is to bring us closer to Him, is to maybe help us, maybe save us from some things we don't even know about. So loss, the way we define loss, we can't define loss. If we say, oh, we lost something, it might not be a loss. It might be a good thing, but we don't know. Only Allah knows. So loss can only be defined by Allah. We can't define loss. So maybe when something bad happens, she also mentioned that we hear, oh, good things happen to bad people, bad things happen to good people. He said, we don't know what is good or bad. You don't know if that bad thing is actually a good thing. We're only seeing it with our physical eye, but Allah knows more. Allah knows. So she quoted a Quran verse 2.216. So she said, but Allah knows, but you do not know. He said, but it is possible that you dislike a thing which is good for you, and that you love a thing which is bad for you. But Allah knows, but you do not know. So sometimes Allah would take from us in order to give us. Allah would take so that He can bring us back to Him, so that we can come back on our knees, so that we can come back to sujood and pray to Allah and ask Him, Allah, forgive me. Allah, I'm sorry I've gone astray before. So most time when Allah takes from us, it might be to free us from attachments. Just like what He did to Prophet Ibrahim when he saw that, oh, he's becoming too attached to his son. And then He asked him to sacrifice his son. Only then was he able to realize the love he had for his son, and he had to let him go. But Allah gave him back and said, you are now free. You can go back. Because we realize that we get attached to different things, but honestly, good things happen to bad people, bad things happen to good people. Only Allah knows. We don't know. Only Allah can explain to us what happened. Just like what happened in the story of Musa alayhi salam. Yeah. So another mindset is, so let us remember that loss can only be defined by Allah. Loss can only be defined by Allah. Now, another one is, this life is not entirely good and is not entirely bad. So Yasmin Guy quoted the Quranic verse. She said there's this part that we've usually gotten wrong. It is that ayah that say, inna ma'ali uzri yusra. Verily, we usually define it as, verily after hardship comes ease. She said no, that's a lie. Because if we're looking at it that way, it means that we'll suffer. Then after suffering, we'll not start enjoying, like all those Hollywood movie that after everything has gone right, then now get to paradise. You now have paradise on earth. Said no, that's a lie. She said that The ayah is inoma ale uziri uzira. Verily with hardship comes is not after hardship. It's not after hardship comes is with hardship comes is. So whatever hardship you're facing, Allah gives us ease. Allah gives us the strength and the patience to bear the hardship. And even if it's ease, there might still be some hardship you will see. So everything is not entirely hard and everything is not entirely easy. She said that's the nature of dunya. Dunya is not perfect. So situations are not perfect. So situations are not entirely hard. Situations are not entirely easy. So verily, if we're facing any hardship, we find out that Allah, most times, let us look at it closely. Let us look at maybe any hardship we faced. I can remember a lot. I remember that whatever hardship I faced here, there's usually some sort of maybe patient or maybe somebody that would come and just ease that thing. Yeah, there are a lot of things. So verily with hardship comes ease. So everything is not entirely good and everything is not entirely bad. So she basically specified that point that we need to get that thing right. Everything is not entirely good and everything is not entirely bad. With hardship comes ease. With hardship comes. So the ease is at the same time as the hardship. This means that nothing in this life is ever all bad or ever all good. In every bad situation we are in, there's always something to be grateful for, honestly. Honestly, in any situation we're in, there's always something to be grateful for. With hardship, Allah also most time give us the strength and the patience to bear it. Having the patience and strength to bear hardship is also part of it. Yeah. So this life is not entirely all good and it's not entirely all bad. Remember, dunya is not perfect. Now, she said another mindset is dunya was created to be imperfect. Dunya is not perfect. Only Allah is perfect. We have to know and always remember that this world cannot break us unless we give it permission. And it cannot own us unless we give it the key. So if you are giving those keys to dunya for a while, if you are giving our art to dunya for a while now, we need to take it back. We need to reclaim our art and place it with rightful owner. Dunya is not perfect. We need to understand that dunya is not perfect. Now, another one is crisis, hardship most times is a way of Allah bringing us back to him, to recognize him as the Lord over all things. Most time we found out that if we've depended on something for too long and that thing is taken away from us, is a sign that Allah is trying to tell us that, oh, you've depended on this thing for too long. Just come back. Just come back to me. So crisis most time is a way of Allah bringing us back to him. Yeah, Allah is bringing us back to him. Then we need to recognize that Allah is the Lord over all things. Now, another mindset is true love is the love that gives, not one focused on getting. So I think we've explained it. We've explained this before earlier. To love in any other way is to need or to be dependent, to have expectations, and this thing will ultimately lead to misery and disappointment. Now, another one she said is the antidote to the emptiness in our heart is Allah, not dunya. So the way she explained this part is that we need to understand that we all have this emptiness in our heart and we need to feel something in our heart. But we try to fill this thing with things of dunya, with accumulating wealth and placing it in our heart. So we allow these things to own us instead of us owning these things. That's the mistake, she said. So most of us allow these things to own us. We obey this thing when they call. So we just basically say the antidote to this emptiness we feel in our heart is Allah. We need to understand that the time we put our trust or dependence on whatever was never meant to help us, it's like working on a twig for support. So for example, she said, when you're walking, you want to cross over a river or a bridge. Now, you now took like a very tiny stick and you're now trying to climb over the stick to cross to the other side. It will break. So she said that's what most of us do. We use dunya that is not perfect. We climb on dunya and then dunya will now break us, will now fall. We'll now be asking ourselves what happened. It's because we've already placed too much trust in dunya. Instead of using a solid foundation to cross to the other side, we're using dunya to cross to the other side. So it's only Allah that is meant to carry our affairs in life, our desires, our need. Only Allah is meant to carry that thing. But a lot of us, we've already used dunya that can't even hold as much, even 1/4 of what Allah has created. We use that thing to support ourselves. So she said, no, that is very wrong for us to do. Now, another mindset she said we should hold on to is dunya can destroy an individual. So she said the Prophet even said in an hadith that about the danger of becoming engrossed in this life. He said that, by Allah, I don't fear for you poverty. The Prophet did not even fear poverty for us. But he said, I fear that the world will be so abundant for you as it has been abundant for those before you. So you compete for it as they have been competed for it. So it destroy you as it has destroyed them. So the Prophet did not even fear for us poverty. He fears that we become too attached to things of dunya that we forget Allah, and then it's going to eventually destroy us. Because it's when you are dependent on something too much, you become, oh, I need to get this and I need to get that thing. People become depressed, people start killing each other to get some things, we become power drunk just because we're so focused on dunya instead of akhirah. Now, another one she said, is making dunya our preoccupation is wrong. So she quoted the Prophet hadith here as well. She said the Prophet said, whoever makes the hereafter his preoccupation, then Allah places freedom from want in his heart, gathers his affair, and dunya comes to him despite being reluctant to do so. And whoever makes dunya his preoccupation, then Allah places poverty in front of his eyes. So what she meant here is, if you chase dunya will run away from you. If you chase money, if you chase career, they will run away from you. But if you chase Allah, if you run away from dunya, if you chase Allah, dunya will chase you. So dunya will just come to you easily. It's like, for example, I think we know this example. When you chase something, that thing will run away from you. But if you don't chase it, it will come to you easily. So that's the way she said. She said, when we chase dunya, dunya will run away from us. But when we chase, when we leave it alone and chase Allah, dunya will just come easily to us. So that's what she meant. Trimidi narrated that whoever makes dunya his preoccupation, Allah places poverty in front of his eyes and makes his affairs scattered. And nothing of this dunya will come to him except what has just been decreed for him. In the same way, the more we focus on dunya, the more our matters become scattered. The more we run after dunya, the more it runs away from us. So the more we chase wealth, ironically, the more poverty we feel. If money is the focus, you find that no matter how much money you have, you always fear losing it. So there's this peace we experience when we chase Allah instead of dunya. We find out that things will just come easily for us because we're not looking for it. It just comes easily for us. Another one, she said, okay, it's still on the same part, that making dunya a preoccupation is wrong. So the preoccupation itself is poverty. The Prophet said that there are some people that poverty is always placed in their front. All they see is poverty, no matter how much they have. Even if you have $1 billion, they are not contented. There is more greed, they fear loss. But if you focus on Allah, the dunya will come to you easily. Even if you have less, they will feel rich and are more willing to give from that wealth. And when such people feel trapped by life, by financial hardship, by pain, by loneliness, by fear, by heartbreak, by sadness, all they have to do is turn to Allah, and He will always make a way out for them. This reminds me of something I read just yesterday. So, there's this thing. I don't know if most of us are Yoruba, but I'm going to translate to Yoruba. He said, Ekonka Oshi. There's a way they quoted it yesterday. So said, Emabe Roshi, Ekonka Eni. So the strategy laid down in that part is that whatever you earn, give 10% of it out to charity before any other thing, before your own needs, before your own desire. Find a way to give 10% out to charity. Be grateful that no matter how small, that 10% would bring you more abundance, will bring you more good things. So basically, what am I trying to say here? When And let's even be honest, among the strategies Yasmoga Aid laid down for us as a way of reclaiming our arts is among the 5 pillars of Islam: charity, giving to charity. So she said that when you basically detach from your own money, because number one, we initially said detachment is the tawhid. You have to detach. So one form of detachment is detachment from even your own money. Don't get too attached to your money. Share it, even if it's just small. Don't get too attached. Find a way to detach using that charity method Allah has given us. See, those 5 pillars of Islam, they are very unique, and we're going to look at it thoroughly. That 5 pillars of Islam: Tawheed, Salah, fasting, charity, Hajj. There are 5 major ways of detaching from this dunya, and that's why Allah made it mandatory. Those are the foundation of Islam. If we're able to do those 5 things, honestly, attachment to dunya will become lesser, will become detached, and then we'll find a way to get attached to Allah back. So in what I was reading yesterday, she said, find a way to detach yourself from your money, because we find out a lot of people love their money. No, I'm gonna give my money out though. If I give it out now, how much will remain? We are too attached to dunya. We're attached to the money of dunya. So even if it's just 10% charity, detach, because Allah will give you more when you bless other people. So detach. If you are just able to give even 500 naira out, that feeling of giving self, it would make you happy. You'll be grateful. That heart of giving would make you contented that you're able to give to other people. So find a way of detaching from even your own money, from your wealth. We're going to look at it properly, all those 5 pillars of Islam, when we get to the process of detachment, according to Yasmin Mogahid. So basically what are we trying to say here is making dunya our preoccupation is wrong, yeah? Know that whenever, like we said before, poverty is put in between there. When you chase dunya will run away from you. But when you leave dunya alone, it will come to you easily. Now, making Allah our primary concern is the goal. So for those who make Allah their primary concern, there's only peace, because whatever happens to them in this life, it is good and accepted as the will of God. So no matter what happens in life, yeah, we need to know that Allah is solidly behind us. He won't leave us alone. Even though we've sinned and we don't know that we've sinned, Allah does not leave his own people alone. Yeah. So we need to understand that Allah got our back. Allah, no matter what happens in this heart, Allah will never forsake us. If he has taken anything away from us in this dunya, he's going to give us back. If not here, in Hakira. So we need to understand that Allah should be our major concern in this life. Allah should be our major concern. There's only peace, because whatever happens to them in this life is only good and accepted as the will of Allah. Yeah. So another one is okay. So he said, when we understand that, when we adopt this mindset of whatever happens in this life is only by the power of Allah. Allah ordained it. Allah gave anybody power. If bad things happen to us, it's Allah that gave that person power. So whatever happens, yeah, is by Allah. So she said that this thing would give us some sort of confidence or belief that, okay, Allah got my back, and we attain some sort of peace. We are not scared. Become more dependent on Allah. So making Allah our primary goal, we should make Allah our primary goal. Now, another mindset is, there are a lot of mindsets. So I'm just going to run it through very fast so we can go to the process. Okay, maybe we'll just start the process of reclaiming our arts. It's not that plenty, but the mindset they're about, I think there are 20 more mindset change we need to go over. But because of time, maybe we'll just go over the process of reclaiming our arts from tomorrow. So it's just the process that remains after this webinar. So let me just continue with this. So another mindset is, see the gift as a gift, not the giver. I think I've spoken about this earlier. The gift is a gift. Our problem began when we saw the gift as the air instead of just a gift. So in our blindness, we became dependent on the gift and put aside the real air. As a result, when the gift was taken aback or never given at all, we thought we could not go on. But that's a lie. So basically, what she's trying to say here is about I gave an example of when you give a toddler a toy car. Yeah, it gives us gifts, but then we tend to see the gift. We think that, for example, Jasmine said something about there's reality and there's a dream. She said this dunya is like a dream. We are in dream. We are sleeping, and whatever happens in our dream, when we wake up, we'll be in paradise. So when we get that toy car, imagine when Allah gives you, maybe you have a toy Rolls Royce, and Allah now says, wake up and take the real Rolls Royce. What will happen? You'll be happy. But because in the dream, in dunya, we've been given toy car, we think that it's only toy car that is in this world. There's nothing else. Only is this toy car. Say, there's no other thing. If I don't get this toy car, not knowing that there's a real Rolls Royce waiting for us. So she said that see the gift as a gift, not the giver. And don't worship the gift, worship just the giver. And she buttressed this by quoting the Quran, where Allah says, is God not enough for his servants? They try to frighten you with other gods beside him. For such as God leads to stray, there might be no guide. So basically what she's trying to say, you might have various other things people are saying, worship this thing, worship that thing. But remember that all those things you're worshiping, there's a power above those things, and Allah has power over those things. Yeah. So we need to see the gift as a gift and not the giver. Now, another one is whether something is difficult or not depends on on how we seek it through Allah. So she gave an example of Prophet Ibrahim and the wife of Pharaoh. Yeah, the wife of Pharaoh. So she said that Prophet Ibrahim was thrown into the fire. Now, inshallah, will not face that such trial in life. But there is not a person who won't get thrown into some sort of emotional, psychological, or social fires in their life. Yeah, it might not be physical fire, but there might be emotional fire, social fire, psychological fire. We will get thrown into this dunya. But don't think for a moment that Allah cannot make those fire cool for us. Yeah. When Prophet Ibrahim was thrown into that fire, Allah made it cool. Why? Because, see, there's a level you get to. You don't care about dunya at all. I'm not sure anybody can get to that. Only special people can get to that level. You don't care because you are just seeing God. You're just seeing God. Like, it's just God. Yeah. It's just like Asiya too. Asiya, the wife of the tyrant. Asiya was being physically tortured, but Allah showed her a home in Jannah, so she smiled. Yeah. So our eyes will not see Jannah in this type of, but if Allah wills, the vision of our heart can be shown the home with him. So sometimes you might be facing some sort of psychological, social or emotional hardship, yeah. But if Allah wills, yeah, Allah can show you some things that will give you the assurance that it does not end here. It does not end here. Like, there's still more. So we need to constantly, no matter how difficult something is, we need to constantly still go back to God and rely on God, because it might show us, he's going to give us the patience, he's going to give us the strength to bear those things, and also help us with the way out of those things. So whether something is difficult or not depends on if we seek it through Allah. So if something is difficult, please seek it through Allah. Oh Allah, this thing is difficult for me, help me. Not that you depend on yourself and say, oh, it's me that will do this thing myself. You have to seek it through Allah. If you are facing any sort of fire in your life, emotionally, psychologically, or socially, seek it through Allah. Seek help through Allah. That's what she said. Now, another one is place dunya in your hands and Allah in your heart. So it still boils down to what I've said before. Do not let dunya control you. Be the one controlling dunya. Don't allow your career control you. Don't allow your boss control you. Be the one controlling dunya. Yeah. So, okay, and she gave a very vivid example here. If we examine the things in our life that cause us most pain or fear, yeah, we can start to pinpoint the gifts which have been stored in the wrong places. So let's ask ourselves, yeah, you might not answer, but let's ask ourselves, what are those things that cause us most pain and we fear? Those are the things we worship. If it's not being able to get married or be with the person we want or have a child or find a job or look a certain way or get a degree or maybe a certain status, honestly, we need to make a change. We need to shift that gift to our hand, not our heart. We can love these things that is human, no. But the problem begins when we put this gift in our heart and God in our hand. So we now use God to get those things instead of using those things to get God. So instead of placing those things in our hearts, we need to place it in our hand and place back Allah in our hearts. So when we worship this gift here, it becomes very easy for us to put God aside. So it becomes very easy for us to delay Salah. It becomes very easy for us to, for example, I might miss Salah, but don't deprive me of my work meeting or my movie or my outing or my shopping or my class or my party or my game. It's very easy for us. So when we see that things are very easy for us, it's very easy for us to put our God aside. We should look at it closely and say, something is really wrong here. Maybe we need to detach and attach back to Allah. Okay, so further example she gave is, it's okay to have a ram relationship, but just don't deprive me of the one I love. It's easy to take off or not wear a hijab, but just don't deprive me of my beauty and my looks, my marriage proposal, or my image in front of people. She also said it's easy to, there are a lot of things, yeah, there are a lot of things. When we put dunya in our hands and Allah in our heart, it becomes easier for us to. So we need to ask ourselves, who are we really worshiping? Are we worshiping the gift or the giver? Or we are worshiping the beauty or the source of the beauty? Or we are worshiping the provision or the provider or the creation or the creator? Which one are we worshiping there? So we really need to be clear on those things. Okay, so I think for now, let us just stop here. So inshallah, by tomorrow, we should conclude with the mindset, the remaining mindset and the process, the 5 pillars of Islam and how they would help us ensure that we become attached to Allah. So we're going to conclude that tomorrow, inshallah. But so far, I hope we've been able to gain value. We've been able to see the kind of mindset we should adopt so far going forward. Yeah, there are some things we need to see, expectations, when we place our expectations, dependence on things. So we really need to really audit those things and see what we can do about them. But so far, I hope, inshallah, this has been really helpful to us. Sister Yasmin Mogaid really, that book, when I started that book was, I think I took up that book at a time when I was in my lowest. I was down and I saw no other way. But when I took up that book, it's like this is the essence of, this is what we should be doing. She even mentioned it up to the point that try and have a bare minimum, something you do no matter what, even though you are down, even though you are feeling like you're feeling down, there's something you would not do. Like there's something you will not compromise on. For example, some people will say, oh, it will be solar. Even if even if I'm sick or anything, even if it's just la, every morning, afternoon and night, there's something you shall need to do constantly to just get ourselves attached to Allah. All of this, we're going to talk about it tomorrow, inshallah. Thank you very kindly, Sister Morayo, Brother Ibrahim, Sister Rafiat. Even though I didn't hear Sister Rafiat's voice, I think mic was having issue. But thank you very kindly for joining in. But before we go, let me hear from you. Has this been helpful kind of? Let me just get 1 or 2 comments so we'll know how we'll go about it tomorrow as well. Sister Morayo. Okay, Brother Ibrahim.
Sister Baina, thank you so very kindly for the presentation. It has been really interesting and educative at the same time. So thank you so very, very much. I've been able to remind myself a whole lot of things and even gain more. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Right. Amen. Amen. Oyala. Thank you very kindly, Brother Ibrahim, and for the insight you also provided as well during this discussion. Sister Mariah, we hear from you. How's the meeting been? And maybe what other things would you like to hear about? Maybe tomorrow as well.
Sorry, I had to leave for a little while, so I just joined back.
Okay.
I was a bit busy, but it has been the word for me is this mindset change. I think this the what can really make us to reclaim our mind, we change our mindset, we put Allah in the center of everything, and I think with that, Allah will give us the strength and in order for us to make our Akira the best and Alijana Fredos be uh, our goal.
Amen, Oyala. Amen, Oyala. Thank you very kindly. Thank you very kindly for your contribution as well during the meeting. In fact, I jotted some out. I'll be sharing them as well on the group. Thank you very kindly for your contributions as well. Thank you very kindly. Sister Rafiat, are you there? Okay, I'm not sure, sister. Maybe she's having issues with the mic. But so far, thank you very kindly, everyone. Thank you. I hope to see you tomorrow so we can conclude the other parts of the session gladly. May Allah make it easier for us as we try to get closer to Him, as we struggle to attain the Tawheed that Allah mentioned in the Quran. Thank you very kindly, everyone. Happy Iftar. Very good. I think it's about 1 hour more. Well done. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye.